Hey friends, welcome to the first episode of Woven Wisdom. If you do not follow me on TikTok, basically I post woven in the word videos where I crochet and I do a little Bible study. So over there I talk more in depth with the verses that I speak about, how to apply them to your lives. I wanted to find a way to bring that content over to my YouTube for long form, and I thought, why not make it more of an application setting rather than do an in-depth Bible study over here, because I feel like, yes, there's two different audiences there, like with TikTok versus YouTube. It's completely different. I also didn't want to do the same thing like over here that I'm doing over there, or else it's just like you could really just get the short version over there. So instead I'm doing a woven wisdom, which basically means I am giving you wisdom, biblical sound things that you can apply to your life. It'll just be things that I've experienced, because I can't speak from what I didn't experience. So these will be things that I've experienced firsthand that I will then relate to you based off of what I've learned from them. So I'm very excited to get started with this series. This will be something that I hopefully, fingers crossed, prayerfully, that I post every Thursday. Today, we're going to be getting into what I learned on my healing journey. Now, this is not coming from a spot of me knowing everything, because quite honestly, I'm still learning things as I'm going. Having been on this journey for, I don't even know how long, y'all. It's been like off and on, me trying to heal. Specifically speaking, I am dealing with grief from a breakup. I'm also dealing with separation and like being very lonely in this season, because God is pruning me and just taking some things that I've idolized in the past. One being marriage. I have idolized marriage since I don't know when, and God has really just slapped me in the face and said, girl, this is not the path that you want to go down if you're not ready for it. So I've been just in this healing season dealing with the feelings from that, and so I want to be able to help you guys if this is something you're going through, or if you're just healing from not even a breakup, but if you're healing from grief, if you're healing from a life that you thought you were going to live, a loss of a friendship. Like, it could be healing from anything. It doesn't have to be a relationship, but I just wanted to speak from my experience. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. But I'm making a scrap slouchy beanie, and I'm actually really excited because this is going to be so cute when it's done. Cozy up, get your popcorn, get your snacks, get your chips and salsa, get your crochet project, sit down, and let's talk wisdom. I'm going to be giving you 5 tangible things that I learned on my healing journey. So the first thing I learned is that healing is not linear. I cannot tell you how many times I have gotten to a point where I'm like, wow, this feels great. I think I finally accepted what's going on. I think I'm finally at the point where I want to be, and then boom, there's something that sets me off. There's a trigger. There's just something that I didn't expect. Healing is not linear. It's not meant to be. And you just have to give yourself grace in knowing that no matter what comes your way, you will be okay, because you have the Lord at your forefront leading you. I really will be thought I would be healed, thinking that this doesn't bother me anymore, and the next thing you know, I'm crashing out, I'm bawling, I'm crying myself to sleep over something that I thought I was over. And just because you're crying about something doesn't mean that you're not healed from it. It just means that you still have those emotions. That's still a tender spot, and I think God is really just trying to show us that those wounds, we still need to depend on Him to heal them. I have a verse to go along with this, which is Isaiah 48:10. Look, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Healing is like the ultimate test, because it's like, what will you do in this season? Will you try and go seek out distractions? Will you try and go run away from God, knowing that you need to be obedient, but you're afraid to be? Like, what will you do in that season of healing? When he says the furnace of affliction, the furnace of pain, the furnace of heartbreak, the furnace of trials and tests, these are all things that God will use to prune us and refine us. And when you refine silver, you're making it pure. So that is what God is doing in our hearts. And I just think, while it is painful, while it is brutal, sorry, I'm trying to untangle this yarn and it's like making me upset. It's not fun, but I think it's very much so necessary. And I think this goes along with the fact that it's not linear, because you just never know what to expect when you're being refined. The second thing I learned is that rest is obedience. This was something that I really had to lock in on and understand, because when I first moved out from that home, I really thought that I needed to be quite literally do everything and anything that I can. And while I said to myself, oh yeah, I'm just, getting into a good routine, I'm just finally getting things in, no, what I was trying to do was take the control out of God's hands and move without His say so. What I was really trying to do was distract myself with the gym and distract myself with scrolling on TikTok and binge watching shows and eating all the cookies and ice cream and cake that I wanted, when in reality those were distractions. I literally had no choice, y'all, but to rest. I went to the gym this one time injured my back so bad. It was back day. I was doing the most. I don't know why I thought that I just could be doing any and everything, but I was. Since that day, I still haven't been back to the gym. I have been forced. I've literally sat me down and said, you are going to rest. That's what happened. Since then, I've just literally been resting. I've been trying to be more intentional about being in my word, because I know that that's really what he wanted me to do. You don't rest, God will force you to rest. It's not laziness. A lot of people think when you're resting, you're being lazy and you need to get up and do something. No, sometimes you need to just sit your butt down and do what God is telling you to do. I also learned from that can be a trauma response, and it also can be a symptom of you dealing with survival for so long. I tell you, I was in survival mode for I don't know how long in my life. I'm walking on eggshells, not knowing what to do, not knowing if I'm making the right decision. I didn't know how to sit still. I didn't know how to be calm, because I always felt chaotic on the inside. I always felt like I needed to be doing something more, because I couldn't just sit still. I would feel lazy. And it's just gotten to the point where I've started to internalize a lot of that, and that was me listening to honestly listening to the enemy and not listening to God's voice. You are not lazy because you're resting. You are not lazy because you decided to take a break, because you wanted to take one day off. You're not lazy for that. You are being obedient. Even God rested when he was building the earth, so why do we think we don't need to rest? And the verse to go along with that is Matthew 11 verse 28 to 29, which says, come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I would feel exhausted from doing nothing, you guys. I would literally just wake up and be exhausted. And while there were like physical things that were going on, whether it was my cycle coming on or whether it was like me being exhausted with work, I was genuinely exhausted from doing nothing. And that's when I realized I'm spiritually exhausted from just overexerting myself with all these distractions. He really did give me that rest, and I had more newfound energy. I was able to do more things. I was able to be more alert. Like, I know we live in a hustle culture like world. We are not built that way. That's the way God made us to be, was to rest, and most importantly, rest in him. The third thing that I learned, and I think this is one of the most important things for me, was boundaries is love, and it is God's gift as your protection. There are lots of things in the word about forgiveness. While Jesus literally told us forgive 70 times 7, like always forgive. If someone sins against you, rebuke them. If they repent, forgive them. If they sin against you again and they repent, forgive them again. Or I've gotten forgiveness with allowing people to walk all over me, confused, like mixed up so bad, was thinking that, oh, to forgive somebody is to just continue to let them do whatever. But that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is for you, okay? You're not holding on to any bitterness, because God forgave you, and you're not worthy to say, oh, I don't have to forgive this person. Proverbs 4 verse 23 says, guard your heart above all else, because it is the source of life. You really need to guard and protect your heart, and that requires setting boundaries. Sometimes it doesn't feel good to set boundaries. Sometimes you feel like you're being too mean. Sometimes you feel like, oh, but like it's not that serious, like I don't have to set. No, you need to set those boundaries, because you don't know how much you're delaying your healing by allowing certain things and allowing certain people to keep hurting you over and over again. You're self-sabotaging. That's what that is. The fourth thing that I learned is your pain is not wasted. Okay, what I do know is that none of my tears are wasted, that none of my pain is wasted, that God sees it all. Okay, so when you feel like your tears are wasted, just know that you are not struggling for nothing. Just know that God sees it all, and he loves you, and he cares for you, and he will defend you. You don't have to defend yourself. Yes, you should stick up for yourself. Yes, you shouldn't let people walk all over you, but you don't have to go over and beyond to do that, because God sees that all, and he is moving in your favor, just in ways that you don't see yet. I want to talk about Psalm 56 verse 8. You yourself have recorded my wanderings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? He records everything. God literally knows every single hair that is on our head. I'm pretty sure he'd know all the times that we've cried to him. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I have cried out to God and begged him to get me out of something. He always showed up, always. But God uses everything for your good. Okay. And the last point I want to make, do not go back to what God has delivered you from. Maybe I should just give it one more try, one more go. Like, it can't be that bad again. But then it's like, you literally prayed and pleaded and cried to God to get you out of that. And then for you to go back is really the most ultimate disrespect. It's like slapping him in the face directly. if God is not telling you to go back, if God is not telling you that that is what's for you and you want to go back, I'm not going to say you won't be tempted. Honestly, temptation will come up in your healing, because I feel like it's the easiest way for the devil to get you when you're healing, when you're exhausted, when you're tired, when your emotions are at an all-time high is when temptations are also at an all-time high. So I'd say be aware of that, but also don't let that be the thing that you fall into. Look forward to what God is doing in your life. Isaiah 42 verse 9 literally says, the past events have indeed happened. Now I declare new events. I announce them to you before they occur. He's doing a new thing now. Focus on the new thing. Process the new thing. Thank him for the new thing, okay? And stop focusing on the old thing, because while the old thing is very much glitz and glamour and attracting your eye, it's also attracting you to the things that you once wanted to get out of. That is pretty much everything that I have learned in my healing, on my healing journey. Like I said, I'm still learning things. When you get to that point where you're fully healed, there will still be things that come up. You just have to know how to navigate those, and you will navigate them in a much healthier way when Jesus is the forefront of your life, number one, and also when you have submitted everything to him and you allow him to clear your path. That is everything for this first episode of Woven Wisdom. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of this series, because I'm really excited to do this, and I will see you on next Thursday for more wisdom. Love you.